I freaking love this, man. This is like an example, and like if anybody's listening to this recording, this is an example of just doing it, and people are like, "Well, what if only one person shows up? What if nobody's there? What if I'm presenting alone?" Like, just do it. Just present alone. So this is what we do, and not to just chat about myself, but for the longest time, I've been like, oh man, I want to do this. I have this idea. I want to do that, and then the big thing between idea and doing, that's where the shit hits the fan, and then you ask yourself all these questions. Will this and will that? Whatever. I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it. Like, so I'm doing it, and now we're on the call. Is there anything like I could?
Well,
Is there anything that you want to talk about? I can give you ideas on, or anything you want to ask me, or something
well,
else.
I was just kind of. You seem to have a ton of energy all the time, and um, I didn't really think I was going to be on this call because I thought I was going to be previously indisposed, but here I am. So, anyways, you know about my trip, and just anybody listening, I was on a 3-month trip to photograph the national parks, and and I was basically on a whirlwind tour of about 21 national parks and about 9 states in like 3 months. And so I was out there shooting all the time, every day, and didn't really have time to get in, do my edits, and also do any networking on the side when I was out. So it was kind of, now I'm staring at this just gigantic load of work that I have to do, and it's tough to get motivated because you go back, you do some edits, and as an artist, it's very easy just to get down on yourself. Like, you thought it was something great, you get it back, and it's not quite exactly what you want, but everybody that you show it to is just in awe of, or they love what you do, but it just, once it just doesn't meet your your I don't know, kind of your quality standards that you think that you have the expectations that it should be, and just working through what, just to get it done. And it seemed to be a little daunting. And I just kind of, you have a whole bunch of stuff that you always work on, and I'm sure that you probably kind of felt the weight of the backlog. And I was just kind of wondering on what you had ideas to get through that.
Wow. I'm only laughing because I'm going to give you some ideas to get through that. Yes, and honestly, I fight this on a daily basis. Like, it gets better. It gets a lot better, and it's I can't lie and say, okay, it's a flip of a switch now, but I practice it on a daily basis for so long. Like, I mean, I've been freelancing. If I go back to like 2009 and even before that, so pretty much since like 2009. I don't even know what year it is anymore. It's like, so for almost 8 years. No, like, okay, so almost 15 years I've been kind of on and off for work, and then 2009 I went full time freelance and I was going to school. So work got big, 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 big piles, big piles, big piles. Work's big piles right now too, and I've learned to delegate. There's outsourcing. You can always outsource, and we probably find ourselves in the spot where it's like, well, shoot, I can't outsource. I don't have money to outsource. That's always a possibility. I mean, these are just some ideas today, but I'm going to give you realistic ideas and give you some realistic tips. But you could always think about, well, let me go on Craigslist and find somebody that's hungry that maybe can help me, and I can push this out to them. Just put up an ad somewhere. And I know for all of you filmmakers out there that would say, well, you can't, underhand somebody the money that they're not worth. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I have worked for free for so many times for little money to none. I have helped people and worked, and that's where I am today. The opportunities, the people I got to meet. So I don't really care what people say, and they're like, oh, when you get your value and you know your value, that's when you get paid what you want to get paid. So in saying that, look for people that are hungry, look for students, maybe that could help you outsourcing all this stuff. Maybe you could find a partner or a friend that you could partner up with and be like, hey man, I just went on this amazing journey. I went on this amazing documentary. I want to put this stuff together. How can you help me put this together? You got a lot of stuff going on. Let me ask you a question. Do you have much extra money?
No,
Yeah,
the trip pretty much
yeah, killed you.
pretty much killed me. But
Cool. Okay. So there's a couple. I'm gonna get to. I'm just giving you a couple ideas outside the box that are kind of like, nah, you don't need to. You could always find somebody to help you, maybe a friend, or post up a Craigslist ad and say, listen, if you're a video editor or a filmmaker, I'm looking to partner with somebody. I just went on a amazing trip. I'm looking to put together a package of the national parks that I went on to, and I will do work for you. You do work for me. Let's partner up. Boom. There's no cost in this. It's just a partnership. So that's just a possibility, dude, because and that could give you a little motivation as well. That could really motivate you because sometimes when, like, especially as videographers and video editors, and I will say this too, a coworker that was working with me the other day, he said, I really like working around people. It gets me motivated. And I've noticed that for myself too, that it gets me motivated. Being around people, the energy's there, they're working, you're working, you could just keep working. These people around you are doing the same thing, and you're surrounding yourselves around the people that you kind of want to become and that are like you, and that's really great. So that's another idea, is just to partner up with somebody and find somebody. And I know this might seem like a weird idea, but until you actually try it and then see how it works, that's great. Now let's say you don't have time to partner up with somebody, but I would just suggest, dude, why don't you throw it in that? Just throw it out there. Throw it out to the universe, I have been, honestly, like, I haven't been praying, but I've been visioning, wow, bring me somebody that I can work with, that works like me, that is on the same level. Boom, bring it to me. I don't know how long I've been waiting, and it's kind of, it's showing up. It's there. So there's a possibility for that for you. For you on your own, what I do is, um, you make a plan. Write out what is your vision, and there's this 90-day action plan that I want to send to you as well. That's really really cool. That one of the guys from Landmark did. That they teach at, I think it's Harvard University. That's a little step above, but for you, and I'll get to what motivates me. And I'm talking a lot. Um, what I do is I write out the priorities or my vision. Okay, so let's see. Let me just look at this. Hang on, let me just answer something. So what I do is I write out, the priorities. So you've been on this national trip, you've got all this work to do, and you want to get it out, and you feel uninspired, and it's just so much work. Well, map it out. I'm going to turn this off. Hang on. I'm sorry. I'm getting calls from my WhatsApp. So map it out, dude. Map out the whole entire, like, trip. How do you want to present it? What is priority for you on the trip? Like, what is your end product goal with everything that you did? Let me just ask you that. I still haven't answered your.
well, that's fine. Kind of. You kind of answered.
I'm gonna answer it more, but I just want
Uh,
to hear, like, what's the goal, the end in mind of what you want to do with all this content.
well, mainly, I started to do a little video on the road, and then once I figured out that I wasn't gonna be able to readily get that video out quickly, um, I kind of stopped shooting video content, and I just focused on my photography because I I kind of thought that just the short trip, I knew I was only going to have like 3 months. So I kind of thought that I was just going to focus on my own photography and do what I've wanted to do for 20 years and just go out and hopefully bring back something that I can put in book form, possibly get into some galleries. Since now, especially in the last 4 days, this is probably going to be on the forefront in the next 4 years on the election as far as climate change and the environment and such. So I kind of wanted to get it out to the public, just as far as what's happening, why it's important, because now there's a big disconnect between a lot of young people in the outdoors, like the people that are in the outdoors, are really in the outdoors. But there's a whole bunch of people that are in the city that say that they would like to, but there's just a disconnect in between, you know,
Yeah.
why it's important, why it's important to go and just be in that and kind of be disconnected for a bit. And I think that's kind of important in today's day and age, that everybody's looking at their phone, you know, 300 times a day.
Yeah.
It, just the disconnect, and to have those places that are very important for that time, so you can go take your family out. And even if your dad's super busy and he says he's got a job that's always contacting him, you can be on a boat on a lake somewhere and he's still getting cell phone calls. And
Yeah.
it's really not family time. You go out hiking, you have absolutely zero service. That's the important time. And you're in the most beautiful places in the United States, and possibly the world, depending on where you're going, and what your own likes are. So it was kind of more of just to Ansel Adams did a lot to bring the national parks into the forefront, and everybody knows who he is now. But it seems like there's less and less people like that. Even though there's more photographers out there, there's less and less people that care that much about it, that they're just gonna give it up and go and do it. So that was
That's
kind of what I was going for, and I would love to put a book together. And now it's just I'm going through everything, and there's a whole bunch that I really like, and
okay.
some of them are really good, and some of them just kind of let me down a little bit. And now I'm getting out of it, and once I'm off of the trip, then it's a little harder to get back into serious work mode and work really hard on something that I think is just a little short.
Okay, so here we go, dude. It sounds like you've got way more than enough content and way more than enough knowledge and just way more than enough things that you need to get out. Then you're falling short. Like you did, you're not falling short at all. Like you have that experience that you've gone out there and you've done all that and you've been on this trip. That's a lot of places. That's a lot. Okay, and not many people have experienced that. So even in that, like the experience alone, you have that. So okay, so how to motivate yourself? I think you're sitting on a gold mine, dude. I think you're sitting on a gold mine with a project. I think you. I mean, I don't know if it can make you money, but it definitely you could be working on your passion. Well, you can make money with it if you keep pushing it. But can I teach you and show you how to actually, make the money with it? No, because I've not produced results like that, and we know the kind of people that we surround ourselves with and that we're surrounding ourselves with. We have the knowledge, but us ourselves, we've not, produced the actual flow. But us, we've helped people make millions of dollars, dude, with the work that we do. You've got to sit down and you've got to really look at this project as, dude, this needs to get out to the world. Like, then get over the fact that you've fallen short. I will say something. I have a message that I want to tell everybody, and you've heard this before. There's a message that I want to say, or there's something that I want to share, or work that I want to do. But I always feel like I've fallen short. Like it's not good enough. This is crap. Oh shoot, I could do better. I could do better than this. Or I don't want to share this at this point because I'm just not ready to share it. It's not ready enough. I took the stage once and I shared this little story about a book I wanted to write about my life story, and I had 90 seconds to say it. And I'll tell the story longer later, but within that 90 seconds, I shared it on stage. I wasn't even supposed to talk about that topic. But after I got off the stage in the 90 seconds, told people about the book that I was writing, somebody came up to me and they were like, Tasha, wow, you've changed my perspective and I want you to help me get past my fear. And after that, I thought to myself, wow, like I have been withholding what I had to say and thinking that it wasn't good enough, it wasn't ready, and here I am within 90 seconds in front of 200 people. I've just said this, and it's impacted a life. So, um, I think to get over falling short of your work, like you have a message, and if you look at it a different way, like you have to get this message out to other people. Okay, they have to see it, they have to read it. There's families you're going to inspire, there's people you're going to inspire, you're going to inspire the young generation. So the more that we're holding it back and we're saying it's not good enough, the more selfish we're being. Like it's almost selfish. Okay, so I for me personally, I try to remember this on a daily basis. So I almost become selflessness. Like it's not about me. It's about I have to get this out and I have to really spread this message. I'm not some kind of psychic medium where it's like, oh, okay, I have to, whatever you're talking to me, I have to, get my psychic powers out. Nothing like that kind of message. But it's like there's this type of energy, there's something in me that is a vessel for other people. So I need to push myself forward with that vessel. And so the more that I think about that, and the more that I think about I can reach people and help people, inspire people, and teach people, the more that empowers my energy to really like get up off my ass, really get up off my ass and like go say something, go share what I didn't want to share. Now, with my work, I'm working every day. Like almost every day, I look at the videos I do and I'm like, oh man, like this isn't good enough. I can do better. And so I've really been practicing the power of good is good enough, okay? And then focusing on where the real message is. Like you have your photos and you have your video and you think it could be better, but the real message is, and how are you going to reach these people with these photos and videos? That's where you should be spending your time on. So, like, what kind of words am I going to write in this book? How am I going to present it in the book? So, you've already done the work, like, the work is there. Like, you could be developing around the work that you've done. Get past you could do better, because you know what, you're going to do better, dude. We've got to start somewhere. Okay, let me tell you this story and you might learn something from this story. And I kill myself on a weekly basis because of this, dude. I really do. I was in it was probably about 2010, 2011. I'm in video making class. I'm in high school, but I'm doing dual enrollment. I'm at a college, fully enrolled. I'm in video making class, and uh, the teacher has this project that we have to do, and he says, okay, make a story with a bunch of with one song. Pick one song and tell the story to the song in just clips, images, moving clips. That's the video. That's your project. Pick one song, tell a story with the song in the clips or whatever, or have the b-roll clips, the song support that. So me thinking, this is the first time I learned Adobe, or no, Final Cut Pro 2. I was so excited. I love Final Cut Pro 2. I basically taught myself Final Cut Pro 2 during this time. But I'm thinking to myself, one song? Like one song? Like I can't pick just one song. And so throughout like a week, I was thinking about this project. It was due in like 3 days. And I'm hearing all these songs on the radio. Like before I go to bed, I'm in the car and I'm picturing and I'm developing this story the whole week. Finally, I get the idea for the movie. It's all in my head. And so then I go get my brother and I'm like, bro, he was like 8 years old. I beg him. I'm like, yo, be in my movie. I need you. I need to shoot. I need to film this in 2 days and I need to turn it in. I think I was about 21. And then so of course I'm paying him in quarters and stuff, and I even shorted him some quarters. But and anyway, he did the movie for me. I did the movie. I edited it together, and it had about 15 to 20 songs in it. I thought it was pretty like dope, okay? And it was really cool. Like the moods of the film changed, and it was called In Searching for Hope. That was the title. And at the end, it said never give up. And then I showed it to the teacher, and the teacher gave me like a D. He's like, I said one song. And I was like, well, okay. And I was seeing everything the class was producing, and it was one song, and it was like a picture of, it was a film of their dog walking around licking ice cream. So, all these weird things. And there was really no, just no, it wasn't like cool. It wasn't something with substance. There was no really story to it. It was just kind of like, let me just go film to this song. And I really had thought about mine for like 2 weeks. And I was very impressed with it, and I thought it was cool. And it wasn't done though. It wasn't done. I hated it. I hated it. I spent 3 or 4 days on it. I was editing for like 3 months on the thing. A year later, I was still editing on it. So about a month after the video, I was in ENC 1101 English class, okay? And I show it to my teacher. I was in ENC 1102, I think. All right. And I was in high school and I showed it to my English class. The teacher let me show it because I was so proud of it. Dude, a woman walked out of the room crying. She walked out of the room crying in the middle of the movie. I didn't know why. Okay. So after we're done, like the whole class was just quiet. Okay. Now these weren't all the filmmakers in class like trying to, do a better film than each other. But this was high level college students watching my film that was not done yet. I told the teacher too. I said, this isn't done yet. What I want to show it. And so anyway, um, after the movie was shown, the teacher was like, "Wow!" She turned on the light. She said, "Let's discuss this movie." Now, again, I was young, dude. I was young. Everybody else are college students. I'm the only high school student in the room, and so the woman comes back in that walked out crying, and the teacher. We all had a discussion about this. This was huge. There's like 30 kids in here, dude. Now the college is actually a freaking university. So I'll get to my point. Okay, I thought the movie wasn't done yet. I still thought it wasn't done. Anyway, we discuss it, and the lady came back in that walked out crying, and the teacher was like, "Why were you crying?" And she stops and she says, "Because like I haven't taken care of my son the way that I wanted to, and now watching this film, I regret the way I treated him." Now, that was the exact message through my film. Basically, the film follows my brother. He's having a bad day. Like everybody in the family kicks him out of each room in the house. My mother kicks him out. I kick him out. My sisters kick him out. He goes outside to try to play with the neighbors. They kick him away. He walks down to the park, like sees an animal on the way, and the animal gives him love. But then he goes to the store and he only has a quarter that he stole from my room during the movie. And he tries to buy a piece of candy from the dollar store. He can't buy it from the dollar store because it's 27 cents. They kick him out of the dollar store. Then he goes down to the park and he's really angry, enraged, swinging on a park swing. And like this rage music comes on. And then this little boy comes down and throws a ball at him because he wants to play baseball. And the ball hits my brother in the back of the head. And then my brother picks up the ball and you see this angry looking face on this 8-year-old. And he's like, "Ugh." And then you see like a replay of the whole entire day in his head quick. And you see this little boy like, "Oh my God, I'm so scared." And he jumps down, covers his head, and my brother's about to throw the ball on him and beat him and give him the rage that everybody else gave him through the day. But instead, he throws his arm down and, like, U2, A Beautiful Day song comes on. And then he puts the ball down, he puts his hand up, he picks the little boy up, and they play. Now he's found a friend. So basically, that was the thing I showed the class. And the woman came back in and she started discussing it. And she really talked about what the movie made her do. It made her cry, dude. The movie impacted a lot of people. The teacher took me aside that day and she said, "Tasha, I want to teach this movie in the curriculum." Okay, I'm not done with the movie. I'll give it to you when I'm done with the edit. I never fucking gave it to her. Dude, I'm fucking almost crying right now. Dude, this was fucking 10 years ago, okay? I wasn't fucking done with the goddamn edit. Okay? That fucking movie could be playing at the fucking college in the curriculum. Okay? I could be going back there to speak. I could be changing perspectives, changing lives with the goddamn fucking movie that I didn't think was fucking ready. I'm a fucking idiot. And I don't care, but do you know how that could have looked at my portfolio? Who gives a shit about that? But at the same time, it's like shit. There have been, I don't know, over 3,000 papers like written on you for a final fucking project of the movie that you made that wasn't fucking ready. I never handed it to her. So if you look at it, I mean, did that do anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's the constant. There's always the constant. It's not ready, and that goes through everybody's mind when they are expecting more from themselves than they expect from anybody else. And you always say you can do better, and I mean, done to you is never really going to get there. And that's like over the years, that's kind of the. I used to just hoard my stuff. I would just work on it and work on it. I'd put it away, and then I'd come back and work on it a little bit more, and then I just forget about it because it wasn't done to me. But you show all that stuff to a whole bunch of other people, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" But there's there's the constant struggle of artists that you hear from everybody: musicians, filmmakers, uh, painters, poets. the whole thing is just the struggle that when you look at it, you don't cringe and say, "Oh man, that's not as good as it could have been." But everybody else is like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing that I've seen." And you got to take your own kind of narcissism out of it and just put it out there,
Yeah,
because that's, I mean, and right now I'm going through a lot of that, and I'm going through a lot of other stuff with, what I'm going to be doing and where I'm going to be at, which is absolutely in the worst place ever for any kind of artistic vision. For the next couple of months, just to be with my mom. I used to live there, and I really don't like the mindset of a lot of the people there. So I really need to find somebody that's, I really don't care who they are. I just need to find somebody that I can talk to on an artistic level and hopefully get some kind of inspiration to stick with it. And this is kind of what I thought this would help out, and that's kind of why I got onto the call, because I can foresee a problem of not being in the mindset of getting work done, just
yeah,
working on it. And this is something that I definitely don't want to just put on the shelf.
yeah.
So,
Dude,
um,
you don't. And I'm gonna have these weekly calls too, and of just doing. I mean, it's just doing. Like I'm stuck out here in the middle of Costa Rica, and I've got all these ideas too. And with this, like ideas with Tosh, it was like, okay, I just got to do it, man. I've been thinking about ideas for the last 3 months. I've got to start it. Here's a couple ideas too for you, perhaps. And I know it just once you start it, you could start a local meetup group like meetup.com. And I know it sounds cheesy and it might be some work, but start a local meetup group, meet somewhere, try to find like-minded people around you. You could even spend a few dollars, like putting up an ad on Facebook and targeting them around your area. Do a video. Be like, hey, it's Joel here. Guys, I'm really looking to meet like-minded people. I've got a meetup that we're going to be doing once a week. It's to keep inspired, to keep motivated. I got a big project I'm working on. My big goal is this. Now, I mean, it sounds good, but imagine right now if you did create that, how would you feel to have that kind of space for you, to have those kind of people there with you, surrounding you? It's going to take a little work, but you can create that for yourself too. So, I don't know what your town's like, but how do you feel about that?
yeah, I mean, I've done meetup groups in the past, and I mean, I haven't hosted them, but I've gone to some, and they were very helpful. Um, it, it seems like the smaller towns you go to, the harder it is to get a good quality core of people. And um, I, for years and years, I've always liked hanging out with people that know what they're doing, and if you bounce ideas off of each other, you're both learning from each other on the ideas, because they do things good a different way. And so it's it when you go into a town of 30,000 people in a, say, a 50-mile radius, you know that that group and the availability of those people definitely dwindles. But not saying that they're not there. It's just going to be harder to find them,
Yeah, well, okay.
or easier.
I'm gonna. I know you're gonna kick my butt, but I'm gonna start welcoming, like, welcome yourself, dude. And this is where some of it changes. And I know we hear this all the time, And I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong, but like, we gotta start as humans, like shit, eat, and breathing like a different perspective. And when we notice ourselves going into that, like, and I'm not saying it's negative, but you've got a lot coming up for yourself, dude. And you, I'm not saying you gotta, but welcome yourself to opening, because things are not going to open up. You've got to open up for it. Like if I'm waking up every day and I'm like, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but you've got to know in your soul, like it rhymes with Joel almost, Joel's soul, like it's going to happen. And I know as cheesy as that sounds, dude, as cheesy as it sounds, I don't know the magic formula for it, but like if I go from my example on how I keep my energy going and how I keep what I'm doing, it's because I fucking know. Even though I don't know, I fucking know. Like I know. Like in the moment I start hearing myself, the moment I start talking to myself and saying, "Well, that's not going to happen," I stop it. I stop, and then try to come up with. I try to come up with ideas that will really take me to that next level. It's like, okay, well, here's my situation. So how can I take that situation to the next level? With what kind of ideas? Okay, pick one, bam, and then I pick it. It's like, okay, it's like, I'm just an idea. Like, you're going into that mindset with all these. You're saying that there's a bunch of negative people to bring you down, and I know exactly where you're at, dude. Because if I go back to the old town where my family used to live, and even if my mom listens to this at some point, hey mom, sometimes I get there and everybody's just like, no, 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 no. And then you get around that no, and then you start becoming that. So how can you get around that? It's really tough. You got to come, geez, how do I'm trying to ask myself that question too. When I get back to my families and I'm surrounded by people that are no, 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 I want to puke. I want to puke. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to listen to it. And then I think I spend more of my energy trying to counteract that. So what I do is I try to lead by example. So if I'm around that environment and around those people, I just don't hang out with them. I'm like, hey, I don't have time for this. I have to go do this, and I leave. Or I say, hey, would you like to come with me while I work on this project? Would you like to do this activity with me? And then I try to change the subject. I try not to. I try. If we're at the dinner table and everybody's talking about like Aunt Nancy that's just did this and blah blah blah, I'll literally walk away and be like, okay, I'm going to step outside for a second, or I try to change the conversation. So I try not to indulge myself in any of that because, or I try to change the conversation. In I don't know if I've answered any of your questions. I'm trying to from my personal experience, and to keep the energy going on the projects. What I do is I actually I try to execute them. That really inspires me to get the projects going, like by executing. Recently, I did a video challenge, a 30-day video challenge. That really inspired me and helped me keep the work going and to see it actually happening and to see people actually reacting to it and getting feedback. And now I've got my video challenge going, and people are actually like responding. People are having feedback. People are saying, wow, this is the greatest thing. We're on day 40 and we're actually, we're learning. We're learning things about ourselves. And that really got me going. So I think, with the work to inspire me to keep going, I also take breaks, dude. I go on walks. And I really, and you've probably been on a huge long walk, on your journey that you've just gone, Joel. But I go on a lot of walks. I talk to myself a lot, and I remotivate myself. Um, I sit down, I write my plan out of what can I do first, second, and third, and start executing this. And when I'm on my downtime, I start to do little chunks towards the project. I also get like an accountability partner. You can get accountability partner that is on your level, that is your friend, and you show them your work. Like, hey, dude, check this out. What do you think? What do you think I can do better? What do you think I can do? Get a weekly call and get them on and be like, hey, dude, even 20 minutes, 30 minutes of your time. What do you think about my project right now? Throw back and forth the ideas, and just really do it. Do like just doing it. I'll send you over this link. It's a 90-day action plan. Like, actually, like maybe I can look it up now. That might even help coming up with some sort of strategic plan on how to execute what you want to do. When we know exactly what we want to do, it gets easier. And I think with your big project, because you just have so many elements to it, dude. You really do have a lot of elements. Like, actually sit down and sit down for 2 weeks. Don't worry about getting the content out, but really write a solid plan down, and like on paper, and then follow that. And you know what? This is a good opportunity because you're helping your mom out, dude. This is a good opportunity for you to go deep and get in and have that space to actually create. Because when you're out of there from helping your mom, like you can go back on the road. So that you can almost look at it. I would also welcome you to look at the space of going in there to help your mom as something as an opportunity. Dude, and I know again, we hear this all the time. You've been around the motivational speakers, you've been around the personal development speakers. It's like you've got to practice it on a daily basis, or else, man. On a daily basis, I'm still fighting with myself, motivating myself, inspiring myself. So I get up and I listen to motivational tapes. I just listen to people that I need to surround myself with. I talk to myself. I get myself pumped. I get myself going. I start my plan of action for the day in the morning. I write out, what am I going to do first, second, third, fourth, fifth? And then I start executing it that way. What are my top priorities? That's what I go after as well. Anything else, Joel? I know I just keep talking.
Um, no, I mean that's I mean the biggest thing is I've never done anything this big. Like I would go and do, a week long photo shoot. I'd come back and I'd not, you go through and you'd knock out, 4,000, 4,000 image call, and, throw your 20 up, and this is awesome. You know, it's always been just a quick little snippet. And now it's kind of like, it's kind of like I don't know if you ever read that book, the boy who didn't take out the garbage.
No, I didn't.
Um,
I should.
there, um, there was a book that the kid just kept putting off. Uh, the kept He just kept putting off taking out the garbage. He's like, I'll take it out tomorrow. I'll take it out tomorrow. I'll
Yep.
take it out tomorrow. Well, finally, the garbage takes over his entire house, and he's like, I want to take it out, but his house is basically infested, and now it's too late, and they don't have a house anymore because it's filled with garbage, and it can't. It's like a kid's book,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like 30 years ago, but now I just have just this huge. Well, my computer is just chock full of stuff that I need to work on, and like I'll start working on something, and then I'll get distracted or something. I am taking, this time that I'm going to be helping out with my mom as a very big opportunity to just, throw the headphones on, get the computer on, and
Yeah. Dude,
and just work. And
go on.
trying to get the time and your mindset right is the most important thing. And I kind of got to do that. I've kind of been on a whole bunch of family stuff for like about 3 weeks, and I just need to get back into work mode.
Okay, so like come from this way too. You don't need to get back into it. Get back into it. That's it. Bam. You know what? You're back into it already, dude. You're back into it now. Like, dude, honestly, the more and the more, like, the more for me, let me go for me. The more and the more that I think about yesterday and what I didn't do, the more, uh, the more. Hi, Sam. I just saw Sam on there. So, Sam, anything that you might be wanting ideas on, something that just might be on your mind. So, this is just ideas, something that might be up in your life. Let me know. We can talk about it. Um, so, Joel, the more and the more that I'm thinking about yesterday, what I didn't do, the more freaking depressed I get. So, on a constant daily basis. You've got to find something that inspires you in the morning. Get up, start thinking about it, start doing it, start working on it, and start pushing yourself. Like every single day, you got to push, 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 push. If you don't start pushing now, like you're just never going to do it. And we as humans, we'll keep going in this cycle, dude. We'll keep going in this cycle. Something that came up for me is like we're not making a decision. Like we're deciding to not decide. So we get so caught up in this circle. We're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Everything is so much for me. It's so confusing. You got to step back. You got to look at the big picture. You got to write out a plan, dude. You got to really write out a plan of action, of priorities on this project, and you've got to follow that. Like, that's the first thing. You know what you can start doing is get up in the morning, start writing out your daily plan. Like, what am I going to do today, and what am I going to accomplish? Start accomplishing little tasks at once. What is this? What is the top three things you'd like all the young people in the world to know? By young means fresh pre-grads. Okay, so get those topics out and execute them, on a daily basis, and stick to it, dude. And the more that you practice this, the more that you do this, the better you're going to get at it. I'm not perfect. I'm still struggling on a daily basis, dude. But I find it in this a split second, I can change my perspective. Okay, boom. Oh, okay, that's another perspective. Boom, I can change it. Sometimes people are stuck on it for months, for years. They will die not changing it. Okay? So, like, dude, you're still young. We're still young. Yesterday doesn't exist. Okay, now, right now, this moment is the beginning for the rest of your life. Every moment is the beginning of the rest of your life. So, forget about yesterday. Honestly, and I know you've heard it before, you've just got to kind of feel it. You've got to resonate with that. This is what I do personally. So now, moving forward, what do I got to do? Okay, bam, right? And then I effed up today, then now I start tomorrow. So, and I can't, I can't, I try, I say I try. I really avoid talking negative. I make jokes sometimes, but I avoid talking negative because really, honestly, dude, like I can give you examples from my own personal experience. We're creating our reality. The words that are coming out of our mouth are really creating our reality. Okay? And I mean this would be like a 10-hour call for me to say personal experiences. So when we sit there and we start saying these things, um, they're creating our reality. Okay, so basically, come from a place where, okay, wow, I have these time with my mother. I get to spend this time with her. Our moms are not going to be around forever. So you've got to cherish that time as well. So come from a space of openness, of love, of embracing yourself during this process. Because even though you feel crappy about certain things, like, this is a moment to embrace about yourself, to learn more about yourself as well. And even when we feel crappy, we learn more about ourselves. When I feel crappy, dude, I just embrace it. I'm like, okay, feel crappy, great. Wow, love it. And then another thing is, what I do is I always check myself. Like, I'm not my thoughts. Like, and sometimes we drive ourselves crazy. Like, literally, like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. I wake up sad. Like, my mind is just so sad. Well, I'm not really sad. Like, I'm just thinking that I'm sad at that moment, and I'm saying that I'm sad, so I'm associating with that. But the moment I walk outside and I go do something that I like doing, that I'm passionate about, like, uh, Christian, I don't know if you're on this call, but the guy I work with, he's talking about getting out, kind of reinventing yourself through your passion. So do something you're passionate about and reinvent that for yourself. But now I lost myself because I was thinking about him. But just, you've got to start motivating yourself, man. You've got to be able to develop that motivation and find something that's going to motivate you to push you to the next thing. And I think what we do is we make the decision to see all the bad in life, and we're not making the decision to see the good. And the moment that we start deciding, okay, this is the good, this is what I can go after, that's when the perspective starts to change. And you got to practice that. It's just, you have to practice that, just like walking. And I think as humans too, we practice, being depressed about it. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Being depressed. And so start practicing that. I've anything else, Joel? Because I'm going to go ahead. I think Sam just went offline. Sam was on the call. Was going to answer the three things that he said. I'll put it on the replay, Sam, if you're still on there or not on there. But anything else, Joel? Like, I mean, did that help you at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's just, um, I just need to kick myself in the butt and, you know, get at the action plan. Definitely is necessary, because on something this big, you're never going to accomplish it in one day, and it's going to be a daily battle, and that's very important. So
I'm going to
yeah,
say
I'll definitely.
Yeah, keep it up, dude. And I started the Facebook thing in there, so I'm gonna keep that for keeping people motivated. I'll be putting videos in there, putting like just whatever I put in there. I'm gonna put a bunch of stuff in there because my intention too is to just motivate people, give people ideas. I want to eventually bring guests on the calls, bring people to talk, maybe people to talk about their story. I mean, I'd love to bring you back here in like 90 days and you to be like, wow, I just kicked some ass. Like I just kick some ass, and you just gotta kick ass, man. And you're so awesome. Like don't let yourself down and think blah 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 blah. You know, and it's normal because we all do it. We all do it to ourselves. We're constantly doing it to ourselves, and it's a constant battle. I'll go ahead and post the 90-day action plan that is amazing inside of the Facebook group that you're part of. And if anybody else is listening on here and you're on a Facebook thing, go search Facebook Ideas with Tasha, Tasha. Go ahead and join the group, and that's where we're going to be posting stuff in there. And Joel, again, like to sum it up, that's just what I do on a daily basis. I'm motivating myself, and sometimes I don't even have people around me. You know, sometimes I feel like the loneliest person in the world, and I don't feel lonely and sad. I'm just lonely as like I'm alone. I'm doing this alone, and I kind of am the kind of loner. So what do I do to motivate myself? Like I put on Tony Robbins. I put on educational videos. I put on Ernest Holmes. I listen to Earl Nightingale. And so I'm listening to people, and these people are firing me up. Okay, they fire me up. So maybe you could pick out some people that you listen to on a daily basis, and really, motivate you and fire you up, dude. And once you start this project, I mean, start a fan page. Start a group or something that has to do with your photography that you're doing. Maybe buy the website, start the blog on it. If you just start something, if you get something going with it, that something could push and inspire you to move you forward. And I'm only telling you that because from my personal experience, man, like I said, I started this video challenge like 40 days ago, and it really inspired and pushed me to actually like to start doing it. I started to see the results. I started to see people like it really doing something for people. So that motivated me. So by you reaching people and starting it, start it.
I just did.
You know? So, hey, I think my mom's on the call. So, mom, hey, mute that so I don't hear you in the background.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
am.
yeah, yeah. Hey, mom,
Actually,
yeah, there's like six callers on. Let me just finish up with Joel here. So, Joel, there's my mom. Meet my mom, Joel.
hey, Joe. I heard
Um,
you. I heard the whole thing, man. It sounds like you're gonna do a good job, and you're gonna wake up every morning enthused.
yeah, it's just you gotta wake up and do it.
so, so,
Yep.
so, mom, since you're on the phone call, you got any advice for Joel?
My advice is to listen to everything you said. I mean, you motivated me to even say hi to you.
How, so, how many years have I been motivating you, mom, and I haven't given up yet?
Probably since 2 years after you were born. No, she has. She's always been the logic and very fearless, very intelligent. Just always. But her mind and my mind come together, and we have intelligent conversations. And I miss that because I live in an area where there's not many people that understand the things that Tasha and I can reach. So listening to her is just it just excites me because I understand it, and it's awesome. And I hope that you learned something, Joel, because that was some good advice. And
Okay.
hope you get rolling. Okay.
Oh, mom, thanks so much.
Yeah, I just had a question. Not a question, but I just want to say something real quick because I came in the conversation when you were talking about that movie. That goes back to when the commissioners and the mayor, we showed that to them in our hometown or where we live now, and the mayor had walked out because she was crying. So that's kind of reminding me of the lady that you said that walked out because she didn't understand. She thought it was, real. But the lady was looking at the reality of it, of what really goes on. Kids really, this happens.
Well,
And the mayor came back into the room, and she was still crying, wiping her tears. And she had thought that that was a real story. And yes, it is a real story, but it wasn't a real story with our brother. I mean, he never did anything like that. But Tasha, you had such imagination in a real world situation right there that I still wish that that would have went to Santa Fe, and people could watch that somewhere, everywhere. It's an awesome movie. It touches people. I cried so hard because I could feel how you were directing this and producing it, the feelings of David, what he was feeling. He was projecting what you were teaching him, and that's what a great teacher you are. And he was only 8 years old.
mm-hmm.
So
Well, Mom, I think I think you got the movie. You're taking the movie a little too personally. I think it was really just a story about, regretting how you raise your children in general. It wasn't about anybody specific.
exactly, it
So
touched. Yeah, but it touched so many people.
yeah,
It
I know.
touched. I mean, people were talking about that.
So when you said the lady thought it was reality, what the thing was is it's like an introspective into the person's self. So they're looking into themselves though, and I
And
know.
saw something. Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean. That, like you said, the one lady cried because she thought it was real for my brother.
right.
She was crying because of her. She was crying because of her life and what she regretted to her son. That's why she was crying.
Exactly. Exactly. And that was a little bit too deep for some people to understand that. You know what I mean? That was kind of a little deep for them. So they thought that was real. And
Yeah.
but anyway,
Okay. So I'm
kudos to you. And then the other movie too was good. The scary one.
okay.
That one was very well.
I love it. So kudos to you, Mom, for having sex and having me. Um,
Oh, get out of town!
so,
I don't
okay.
remember that.
So, okay, guys, if anybody's over 18 on the call, excuse me for the language here. But, Mom, I want to get on to answering this question before I get any further from somebody else. So, let me go on.
Okay, I have a question for you, but I want you to take the other calls first. I can hold on.
What's the question? Go ahead and ask it while you're at it.
I want to know how to overcome the fear of knowing that you can have success. It's right there, and you're just not sure how to do it. And why is there fear? What is why? Do you feel like someone feels like they don't deserve it, or what is that?
Okay.
Because okay,
Go on, go on, go on.
because there's a lot of people I talk to, and they say, "Oh, I'm afraid to go for this job. I'm fear for that, fear for that." Why? They say to me, the majority of them, because I don't feel like I deserve it. So therefore, they don't feel good about themselves. So they're not fearing success. They're fearing what they think they have become, and they aren't because they're not going for this new job or success, somewhere. But how do you teach someone to get over the fear of grabbing that success, keeping it, and say, yes, I deserve it?
Wow. Yeah, that's, let me go from personal experience, and there's people that I can bring later on the call that could probably target that answer a lot more. Like one of the guys, the mentors I was talking today, could specifically explain it like on a psychology level. But I think where you start is a lot of stuff comes from childhood. The things that we're taught, the things that we're taught about money. Now this is great because you're on the call, Mom. I mean, please don't interrupt me, but I'm just going to be honest with everybody because I'm very honest. I From personal
Yeah.
experience, I have a problem around money. I was never taught like the value of money. I was never taught how to save money. I wasn't even taught how to manage a bank account. They didn't teach us that in school. I was always taught like, how are we going to get our next meal? How am I going to get money for my snacks? How am I going to get this? How are we going to pay the rent this month? How are we going to put the lights on? We don't have any food tonight. So this was ongoing for my whole life. So my mindset around money is like, we don't have enough, or how are we going to get it? Oh, how can we make the money? I don't, how do I get that? So that is embedded into the mind of like, geez, I'll never have enough, or I'll never, have that kind of money. And when I do have it, I'm spending it. Oh my gosh, I got the money, so I can get whatever I want. Well, you've got to kind of step back and you just look at your life and where have you learned these habits from. So you look at it and you say, okay, and I'll tell you now, like it's taken me, and I know you're on the call, but it's taken me, I'm 33. The last 3 years, I've really tried to grasp my feelings around money. And I finally feel that I'm at a place with money to where I can embrace it and let it in my life. Like I'm ready. Okay. A year ago,
Right.
a year ago, you know, this, I don't care about money. I don't need the money. I don't need it. But you know what? Money is an exchange in a form of energy, and I need it. I need it because I have places I want to go, people I want to teach, nonprofits I want to start. I want to pay off your house. I want to pay off my sister's house. I want my family to have things that they've never experienced, and I want to give that to them. I want to gift that to them. And I'm a vessel for other people. And can I make it without funds? Yes, but it's much easier with the funds, with the energy of this cash flow. So what I'm
Right.
saying is, why is there fear of success? I think a lot of people are stuck in a comfort zone. They get very comfortable. They get comfortable with where they're at, and they're like, well, this is working for me. I don't want to try that. I'm comfortable here. I'm comfortable. There's a fear of the unknown. There's a fear that if I go and I take that job, then I'll lose what I had. I'll lose the comfort of that. I won't know what to do. Now, this is why I'm constantly, now you know me like my whole life. This is why I go. Somebody says, hey, you want to take this job? You have to leave and travel across America tomorrow? I'm done. I'll leave it. I don't care. So that's the kind of mentality moving forward that you have to have.
You answer that. You answer that, and the answer
So,
is overcoming fear. I mean, taking steps, taking chances, taking risks that may, help you. And I would like to say a quote here. Money cannot buy you happiness, Tasha, but it can help with down payment.
there you go.
How about that one? Okay. I love you. I know I'm going to listen for a while. Other calls you got on there. This is awesome. I'll be on here at the same time next week. If you're here, then I'll be here with you.
Well, thanks, Mom.
But
Thanks for coming on. And with the say to me, I don't deserve it. I think also if people just keep practicing on a daily basis, it's a daily basis practice of getting over it. Stop saying it to yourself. Start mantras that say, "I am worthy of this money. This money is coming to me. I have this money. This I deserve. I deserve it. I have it." So it's
right,
welcoming it, and then also, what are you going to do with the money? I mean, I every day I think about what I will do with the exchange of energy of the money that I have, and the people that I'm going to reach, and the things that I'm going to leave in the world before I die. So there's so many things that I want to do. So I'm just doing that on a constant basis. Um,
right.
but if you get,
Hey, the best thing? The best thing about money? You don't spend it. You save it.
well, and then,
No.
really investing. So okay, so that's
Yeah, and you invest. Yeah.
okay. So I'm gonna go. I'm
That's
gonna
a good
go.
way to invest. Investment.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna go on to the next one. I love you dearly. Thank you, Mom. So we'll have
I love you, Tasha. I've been listening. This is great.
great.
This
We'll have
is great.
Mom.
You help a lot of people. You help a lot of people. Okay. I love you very much.
And we will help a lot of people too. Thank you, because you've helped a lot as well. Call.
You bet. Yeah, we both do. I love you very much.
And if it
This is
was
awesome. Okay.
love you.
Love you. Talk soon.
Talk to you soon. All right. Bye bye. So go.
Love you.
I love you too. Thanks, Mom. Great.
Okay.
Okay, I have a Mom on the call. Well, thank you, Mom, so much. I love Mom. I'm so glad that she came on here. I'm going to go on to the next one. Sam wrote on here. Sam's got a question. What is the top 3 things you'd like all the young people in the world to know? By young, I mean fresh pre-grads. Okay, so all for you young folks. Wow. I'm going to go on to the 3 things that I wish I would have done that I didn't do. And if you've not, if you're pre-grad, study hard. Now, if you're not if you're not in school and you're not going to graduate, both things, study hard, study what you want to go after for, get good at your craft. If I look back and I remember my high school days, I mean, it wasn't my time. I guess then I could say to make an excuse, but I really wish I would have listened in class. I wish I would have studied. What I did was I took the book the night before and I studied before the class and I did it. I didn't really participate. I would only participate in the creative things. So while I was in school, I just was not listening. My mind wasn't open to receiving the information. And I was so preoccupied with what was going on, what I was going to do after school, how I wanted to get out of there, how I just didn't like it. So I'm saying, like, just take the opportunity of being there and absorb the information and network with your teachers, network with your classmates, network with people, and think about, what do you want to take out of this? You don't want to just take a degree out of it. I mean, walk away there and become friends with the teachers. When I was in middle school and high school, the first thing I would do when I walked into the class, I'd go shake the teacher's hand. Okay, how you doing? Okay, I became their friend. Why? One thing was because if I did bad on a test or I didn't show up that day, I could definitely get away with it. But even from that, I just became their friend. I was always, I, I was raised a lot by my stepfather and a bunch of older people. So I was always surrounded by a lot of older people. So I really resonated with the teacher in the room. Now, there's a lot of students in the room. Another thing is with being in classes, yeah, there's college parties and everything, and there's all these parties, but really, parties are everywhere. Don't be concerned with missing out on a party or missing out on this or missing out on that. Like, be focused and get what you came for, right? And if you're not getting what you came for, then keep searching. Stay after school. Go talk to the teachers. What can you create? Go talk to the administration. If you're at the school, somebody makes you mad. Now, you know, I remember I was at my university, and I know this is just university specific. So this is the topic of one of the things around the university: learning, networking, blah, blah, blah. Then there's going to be two more after that I really want to focus on. So you're at your school. Maybe you're upset about something going on, or you're not getting what you want. I remember one day going into the private university I went into. I put a lot of money in. I was trying to ask a question. I went to one department. They said, go to this department. I went to the other department, go to this department. I went to the other department, go to this department. So I was really getting upset going around in departments. And finally, I went back to this one department and I sat there and I waited for about 45 minutes. Finally, I got up to the desk and the woman said, blah, 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 go to this department. I said, listen, I pay to go here. I'm not moving from this desk until you get me my answer. And I want my answer right now. And this is why I'm here. And she started crying. The lady started crying. And I said, I'm sorry that I made you cry, but you need to get up out of your desk and you need to go find somebody right now that's going to give me my answer, because I don't pay to not get an answer. So I got my answer. They went out and they got somebody immediately. I got my answer. So, and what do I want to relate that to? Like, I work for an internet marketing company, and there's, people all around the world that are just, when they get in this business and they're like, oh, I can't get this answered, this question answered, this question answered. Who are you asking? Like, keep asking. If your question is not being answered, try a different question. Keep asking. So be relentless. Like, while you're there, be relentless. Okay, so another thing let me look back at this question again, Sam. Okay, all right, then what is the top 3 things you like all the young people? Okay, another one is relationships. When I was young, especially if you're trying to focus on school and you're trying to focus on things, and let's just say you're in a relationship, you got a girlfriend, or if you're a girl and you have a boyfriend, man, did I spend a lot of wasted time when I was younger on meaningless relationships with people. Meaningless. um and actually, it's not meaningless because they help me grow. I dated a lot of people, especially when I was younger, and what I mean by I would spend my time with them, but what was negative is I was spending the wrong kind of time. I was being questioned a lot. Like, so where did you go? Where have you been? What have you been doing? And then I would spend a lot of my time trying to make the other person happy. Okay? Wasting my time trying to make people happy. And that is like a no-go, dude. So if you're in, university and you have a girlfriend or something, or a boyfriend, Sam, I keep saying girlfriend because you're a guy here, um, you know, or maybe you have a boyfriend. I don't know, Sam, but really keep the focus on what is it that you want out of life. And if you're going to pick a partner, make sure that partner is helping you move forward with your vision and in supporting you in life with your needs. Okay. And discuss your needs. If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and they're not meeting your needs, we have to teach people how we want to be treated. We cannot just assume. And what I see in a lot of relationships are, people are dating, and then like the girlfriend will get mad at the boyfriend will get mad at the girlfriend, and they're hinting things. People will hint things for 3 weeks, and it's like, well, why didn't you notice? Dude, you didn't tell me. Like, you need to communicate with me. So communication is a big key word. Like, if you're in a relationship, you're in school, do not let your relationship, guide your life, man. Let it support you moving forward. Okay. So that is what I really want to say to all the young people, man. Don't waste this time trying to please someone. Like, are they going to end up at your deathbed? Do you know how many people I've been with that I thought was the one, the one, the one? I've been alone for the last 3 years because I'm working on me. Like, I need to get me ready for that someone, for me to be able to support that someone that I want to be with. I need to become that powerful being to be able to lift them and take them to where they need to go, and me and the relationship. So I've been working on myself. So really, as young people, like, work on you and work on getting yourself further. You shouldn't be worried about your partner. Okay, there should be no worry. It should be a joint operation of, this is life, this is where we want to go, this is what we're doing for ourselves. You've got what you're doing, I've got what I'm doing, and it supports each other, and we're pushing each other further, and we're working on that in life. So a big regret, just no playing games, and then if your partner does start playing games, like, you got to have that communication, you got to have that conversation. And if they're not open for the conversation and it's more game playing, drop them. There's a lot of people out there. Just drop them. I think at one point I remember, I was with somebody and they were being a little bit negative, and I really liked them and they liked me, and we were dating for like 3 or 4 months. And I just had this realization. I was like, man, do I see myself with this person for the rest of my life? And I just kind of looked at him. We were on the couch. I was like, no. And then I was like, why am I here? Why am I wasting my time right now? I mean, you want a casual sexual relationship, you could find somebody for that, okay? Even that has its dramas, but that needs to be openly communicated, and there needs to be boundaries. But at that point, when I realized that, when I was hanging out with the boyfriend, I said, you know what? This is not somebody that I can see myself dying next to. So I went ahead and I said, listen, man, I'm breaking it off. Well, actually, I remember saying at the point, I said, hey, do you see yourself marrying me? And he said, no, I don't. I said, okay, I got to get out of here. And he's like, what? I was like, dude, I'm wasting my time here. Like, we're not going to spend our life together. So why do I want? I just don't want to. I don't want to build a life with you, and waste my time with you. So you really need to focus on you, and don't let other people try to steer you a different route. Follow your intuition as well. Like, especially going through school, like, just go through it, push through it, get what you want out of it, learn all you can, network, make connections at your school. When I went to my university, I made tons of connections. When I got out, who cared about the paper I had? Really, the paper was just there. It was more about the networking I did, the connections I made, and the connections that I still had from my university. So, Sam, I hope that helped. I do have one more. You said, let's see, what are the 3 things you like all young people in the world to know? By young, I mean fresh pre-grads. Geez, what's the third thing? Um, Man, enjoy. Don't take anything seriously. I mean, do take it seriously, but honestly, in even other people, like, don't let things bother you. Okay, don't waste time with that. If somebody is getting upset with you, take for example, um, like this video that just went on the internet. They had don't take things personally either. This kid was in the classroom and he got mad at the Asian teacher, and he's yelling at him and throwing things. Okay, now a guy that was on the Facebook posted a little comment underneath the thing of one of my friends' pages, and he says, "I don't think I'd ever teach again after that." Why? Why would you not teach again? Like, think about the perspective of that kid. We have no idea how the kid woke up that this morning, okay? We have no idea how many medications this kid is on. Maybe he's all hopped up on like 5 different drugs because his parents think that he's too hyperactive. So for the last 10 years, his mind has been so clogged by the system and what his parents want him to do that he's not even thinking for himself. He's not even human anymore. So, you've really got to look at where are other people coming from. Okay, there's something called nonviolent communication where you really break it down and you get down to the needs of people, like the needs of what are they trying to communicate. Sometimes people will get upset with you and they'll start yelling at you. And for me now, like, people will yell at me and I just, okay, great. I put myself in their shoes and I try to become, what's going on with them. It's not about me. They're not yelling at me. I feel special because they're taking their aggression out on me, and I could be a space for them to take their aggression out. And I'm going to open myself up and say, all right, give it to me. Let me have it. And maybe because I'm used to that, I grew up with a lot of aggression. I let them bring it on, and then I now have become the vessel of them venting, and then I let that go. I don't take it personally, and I say, okay, what's next? So my biggest thing is, especially when you get out there at school or and then you start working, don't take things personally. A boss yells at you or whatever. I mean, be stern with people. Have your boundaries. Be where you're going to be at. And be stern in who you are, but don't take things personally and dwell on them. Like, that's totally something I regret when I was younger. Also, a couple other things, like when I was younger, don't assume things. I'm going to bring this up because a couple people, and it bothers me. It's been bothering me the past couple months, and here I am being bothered by stuff, and I'm saying don't be bothered. But sometimes we like to assume things like, some people will say to me, Tasha, I know you're busy, but. Or I know you must be too busy for this, too busy for me to answer my question. Don't assume things about people. Like, don't go to somebody and put your assumption before your question or before your statement. Just go for it. Okay? Uh, be open and be confident in what you're doing and build on your confidence. Build on your confidence, build on you, build on your identity, build on knowing who you are deep inside. What is it that you want? What do you desire? Don't have other people guide you to those things, and speak up for yourself as well. And there's always a time and place. If you can't speak up for yourself at a moment, like, there's going to be a time and place where you build that confidence up to be able to speak what you need to speak, and that will come. So those are the topics. Those are the 3 things, Sam. I hope that helped. And if you ever have any more questions on that, you can just go ahead and message me. Jump in the Facebook group as well. If you search Ideas with Tosh, you can go ahead and ask some questions, or message me personally. But those are like the top 3 or 4 or 5 things or whatever I wrote, Sam. And again, we'll have a replay. But for all the young people out there, that's what I do. Yeah, I'm just, by looking back, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, there's so many things, but the time that I wasted in relationships that were kind of empty and meaningless, that really didn't lift me. And you really want to be surrounded by people that lift you and push you and help you and just challenge you. You want a good challenge in life. You want to be surrounded by that, or at least I do. So if people are bringing you down, like, just get rid of them, drop them. Okay. I think I had a friend, that I kept in my life for a very long time. And, you know, being negative is negative. And again, like I'm saying, you can't assume things with people, and you have to teach people how you want to be treated. So if you are in a relationship or even a friendship and somebody's treating you a certain way, feel free to just be like, listen, I don't want to be treated that way. Like, don't talk to me that way. I don't like that. I don't appreciate it. This is the way that I would like to be talked to. I don't like that. So always feel free to be open and express yourself. Always express yourself. I'm always expressing myself as much as I can because I know it's not only going to help me be able to express myself later, and I keep building on that muscle in my mind, but also it's gonna ultimately help you, man. You don't want to keep things bottled up as well. Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna keep going on. Don't bottle things up. If you've got something that's bothering you, like, say it. Just say it. I see people sometimes bottle things up, and months later, like, they explode. Talking about things that happened 3 months prior, and you like bring it up, get it out of the space, and move on. Because in the power of forgiveness too, forgiving yourself and forgiving others. Sometimes people can't forgive, and I understand. And people are going to say, "Well, oh my gosh, how can you forgive this and how can you forgive?" That's another topic in its own. But dude, people, the power of forgiveness of yourself is very powerful, because once you can forgive yourself, once you can forgive another, you can move on to the next thing, right? You don't want to have the past clouding your mind. Also, the past, let it go. You don't lead by regrets, don't lead by what happened yesterday. If you really take the perspective and you look at life at this moment, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, but until you really feel it and until you embrace it and you stand in that space of like, this moment, at this moment you're listening to this is all that exists. Yeah, sure, tomorrow is going to, but you know what, like, really the only tangible moment is this moment, and this moment's preparing the next. So this is where we move from. And if you think about it, this moment is the beginning of the rest of your life. Every moment. This is one ongoing moment that is forever. So why not move with this forever and dance with it right now? Like you're dancing with it now. Yeah, sure, there's a tomorrow to dance with it, but dance with the concept of this moment at this moment now. Okay? And be in this moment, be aware, practice your awareness, practice different, being able to perceive from different perceptions, opening up your perception. That's a good thing. Let me see. This is all for still for you youngins and for even older people. And what I mean by the perception is be able to see things from multiple points of view. Like the moment I see a problem or something, I'm always coming up with different solutions for a problem. Somebody in the room says, "Oh, this isn't going to work." I immediately, boom, hey, well, this can work, that can work, this can work. Sometimes people get really mad at me because they like being in the space of, well, this is not going to work. And they like that comfortable spot of, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work. And then there you go. Misery loves company. People keep hanging out and talking about miserable things. So, here's some logical things that you could do to get out of that miserable perspective. Boom. Take those perspectives, try them. Always make a decision. Get quick at making decisions is another one. Really, really know what you want and go after that. Is there anybody else on the call that has anything to ask? I think I'm almost out of breath. So, guys, I hope that was good. We've almost made it to an hour and a half, 7 minutes, 7 minutes to an hour and a half. I want to thank you guys that came on and had your questions. I'm very grateful to have had you on here. This is the first one ever and not the last. So we're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing this for a long time. So, hey, you're welcome, Joel. Thanks for putting this together. We're going to do this next week, too. So let's just keep rocking and rolling with this. Somehow, some way, always going to be doing this. So I love it, man. I've had a lot of fun. I love inspiring. I love motivating. Get in the Facebook group. Let's just keep rocking, man. See where this goes. So I think I even was sharing my screen here. If you guys were on the webinar thing, I don't even know what that did. But anyway. Okay, guys, I'm gonna cut it off. You can listen to the replay. Thanks again. So let's see each other next week. You guys are listening to the ideas for next week. Yeah, it's more ideas. I want to see your progress. Like if you guys were listening this week, uh, go ahead, go into the what is it? Go into the Facebook, get in there. What I want to see next week is, what is something that you worked on this week that improved by next week. So for Joel, did you put your 90-day action plan together? Did you start on something? Have you changed your perspective on something? Did you see? Did you have a breakthrough through inner perspective? So those kind of things. Start thinking about what can you do better for yourself starting tomorrow. Like what's a new perspective for yourself? So start on that, Joel. Start on implementing some positive change in how you're going to get this project out. So write it down. I'd like to see you for the next week really writing down your plan of action for this whole entire project and where you want to take it. And since you have that freedom while you're helping out your mom, that's really good to just take a week out. Think about it, man. Don't put pressure on yourself. Think about it. Get your thoughts out. Get your brain dump out. Geez, write a map about it. It's going to be awesome. So those are some ideas. And also follow up. If Sam, you're on here next week and you heard this replay, I'd love to hear your feedback on some of the things I was telling you about. So that's it. And so next week we'll start fresh again. Anybody with any ideas, I'd like to hear from some new people as well, to see what they might have going on in their life. Other than that, guys, rock and roll. We'll talk soon. Again, if you go to Facebook, search Ideas with Tasha, get in the Facebook group, and we will see you guys there. Okay? Rock and roll. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
The project in mind and the canvas has changed as it's gone, just for time constraints and just actual feasibility of not having all of the time to do all of the content that I wanted. But once I'm done with this, then I can go back on the road and change what I didn't, change what I didn't get, and fill in what I have. If I have a larger plan, then it's easier to fill in what you need rather than just saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. So, and that's kind of what happened. It was that I don't know what I'm going to do. So then I fell into my normal, hey, you know what? I'm just going to have a great trip. I'm going to focus on my photography that, I want to take for me, and hopefully other people like it. And so now that I have that, I came back and I'm like, man, I really wish I would have had, some video explaining certain things, but I didn't know what I wanted to explain when I was out there because I really didn't have a plan. So
I you know what? I love it, dude, because now look at it. This is just record this quick. This is really good for you as well, dude, because now coming up with this plan, I mean specific targeted plan at how you're going to execute it from beginning to end. And of course this plan, dude, you can keep adding to it. That's the beauty of it. Keep adding to it. But once you have it written out, like, dude, this is going to be a masterpiece. And uh don't change your perspective and don't look at it anymore as like what I didn't do. Dude, make it happen for a reason. You went through that. This is preparing you for the bigger piece of the project. Okay? This project ain't done. Okay? And you're going to build on it. And it's going to be even so much better. And you're going to build on that content. So really work on this in the next week of the bigger plan. If you're going to get back out on the road, that's great. Yes, the things that you didn't do, you can execute then. I really like that kind of attitude of you taking it that way as well, because you can just add that to the project.
Right. There is no end. I don't foresee an end goal, but I foresee pieces that are building up to be something bigger. And, if you don't have the pieces that fit in that puzzle, well, you're just going to have to cut out some cardboard and fit some pieces in there and make it work. And, I went through and did all this work, and how in shape or out of shape I was, when I was in Jamaica. I'm not really that I wasn't set up for that kind of thing, but I just said, you know what, if I don't do this now, I'm not going to ever do it. And, it's going to only be harder to stop and drop everything unless you just do it. So, the last day that I was in Yosemite, it's kind of funny. You have a picture of Half Dome. I don't know if you have time for a quick little story. I can tell you a quick little story. And I'm seeing your screenshot of Half Dome right there, and it's kind of interesting that it ties right into.
Go for it.
So, anyways, my mom had just called me and told me about her chemo treatments, and I was basically on my way to Sequoia National Park. So I originally wanted to spend a week in Sequoia, a week in Yosemite. but I was already there, and her treatments weren't going to be for like 4 days, so I had some time. Well, I got to Sequoia, and I was just not thinking right. You know, my head wasn't into it. I was kind of flailing around, not doing much, and you know, I was like, okay, well, I got enough from Sequoia here that I got a couple of decent photos. I got enough. I'm going to go to Yosemite. So I go to Yosemite, and it's absolutely packed. There's construction everywhere. There's still 4 feet of snow on the tops, so you can't really do a lot of hiking. But my mom was like adamant, don't come back early just for this. And I'm like, well, so I'm up there, and I did like a quick, like 6 miles in the valley, a little hike. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm not even thinking straight. I can't get my mind around this project that I'm doing. But my mom would be really mad because she knows that I always wanted to go to Yosemite. And so I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'll just go and do another hike. Well, there's a mountain on the other side of Half Dome that you can climb up and get even with Half Dome. So it's like another 5 miles. It's like another 5 miles up after the 6 miles that I already did, and it's pretty much straight up. And I was tired from hiking in Sequoia, but I started the hike, and it was just a grueling hike. It was, jagged rocks and switchbacks, and I got halfway up. I'm like, you know what, this is a good spot to shoot it. And then I was about to stop and come down or just wait for sunset. And then I'm like, you know what, my mom will be mad because I was pretty much in the mindset that I was already going back. And I was like, you know what, if I get there, my mom will be mad if she found out that I didn't come here and I just gave up a little short. So I was walking and passing people, and there was people coming down that couldn't make it all the way. Whole bunch of people, and they're like, "You're going all the way to the top?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get there." And I mean, I was dog tired, and I was already tired on the way up, and I still got to come back down.
Yep.
So I get there, and I find these two kids that quit and came back, and they are in much better shape than I was. And I'm just like, you know what? I just gotta power through this. And I had been immersed in Teddy Roosevelt quotes on the whole national parks trip. And if you've been following any of my Instagram photos or anything on Facebook, I usually try and tie a Teddy Roosevelt quote or a John Muir quote into it. And he said, Teddy Roosevelt has this quote that says, "If you believe that you can, you're halfway there."
Yep.
And so I was just like, you know what? I got to do this.
That's a great quote.
And I bombed up the entire hill, and I was dog tired. And I got up there, and there was no clouds when I started the hike, and there was nothing. And then all of a sudden, just these perfect clouds showed up right behind Half Dome, and I got a great shot, which I haven't quite edited yet because I've been working on other stuff that I know I'm going to edit that, and I know I'm not going to have a problem doing that. So that one I'm kind of leaving. I'm trying to muddle through some of the other stuff that's not quite as exciting. And that's kind of my workflow, kind of get the stuff that you don't want to get done first. But I get up there, and it was Mother's Day, and I wasn't entirely certain that I was going back that day, but I went up there and I shot a video telling my mom that I was coming back, and it was just a great spot to end it. But I knew that it was just the beginning, because once I got to the top there, I was like, man, I didn't think I could even do that. And then I came back, and I ended up walking back 6 hours in the dark because I waited for sunset up top. So I walked down the mountain in the dark, and after going up 11 miles, so it was 22 miles round trip that day, which is probably about 12 miles further than I had gone.
That's amazing.
But it was the perfect ending to this start of a big long process. I didn't think I was going to get through it. There was so much that but I had that drive because I didn't want to disappoint my mom. If she would have heard that I didn't do what I wanted to do in Yosemite, even though I was only there for one day, putting in 22 miles was way more than I've ever done and way more than I thought I could do in a day, especially in vertical ascent. And it just was crazy to even fathom. Once I got back, I had blisters all over my feet and I could hardly walk the next day, but I was like, man, I was really glad I did that. And so it was just kind of interesting that you had the screenshot of Half Dome, and that was my parting shot of
Wow.
this leg of my trip that ended on the place that was supposed to be kind of the pinnacle of my journey, and I would have a whole bunch of time to stay there and wait for the weather just to be perfect. And so it's kind of interesting that you had that screenshot up there, because now every time I see that photo or a photo of Half Dome, I'm going to remember that, and it's going to drive me to get out there and do it, and just do it, because there was no way that I would have believed that I could have done that. But I had the thought behind me that I didn't want to disappoint my mother, and I'm also not in the right mindset to be doing this. But with all of that going through my mind, I still just did it. And it's kind of interesting that everything tied into that, and you have that as your screenshot. Screensaver.
That's awesome. I want to say something too. Well, I'll turn that off. Why is that? That's echoing. That's really awesome. There's probably a reason why that's there, because this one moment, I do believe in those types of things. Joel, here's something. Imagine taking the story you just said, this story motivating you, and this is your drive on a daily basis. That kind of drive you put into that moment is the kind of drive you need to create for yourself at every moment. I know that sounds crazy, but you know how it feels and you've experienced it. That kind of drive in everything you do, practice that, man, because that is powerful. Your story right there is very powerful. If you can lead with that, you know how that feels, you've experienced it, you pushed yourself, okay? You went beyond the thoughts and you pushed yourself up. I would walk around with a picture with that, because this is epic. The next time you go back to start this journey again, dude, it's right there, going back again, and you're actually going to do it. And it's only going to be even that much better and that much more of a story.
Yeah, it's it really kind of showed me my limitations that I put on myself, rather than
Yep, that's exactly.
than my limitations of what I can actually do. You can actually always do more than what you're doing. It's just the limitations that you put on yourself that don't allow you to do that.
Yep, it's always, dude. It's always there. So, wow, this is a very powerful story, dude. So hopefully, maybe one day we'll be making your documentary of all of this, and it starts with you with the drone shot up on the mountain. So,
Well, we'll have to get some serious FAA and national park restrictions changed, because there's no drones in national parks. But we can find a different. We can find a different mountain. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, well, I got away in a few places, just yeah. But cool. So Joel, I'm gonna go ahead and end the call. But I'm so glad that you shared that, dude, because that is a very powerful story. And so people that are listening to this recording here, I hope you get something out of that story, because now I can't wait to hear the next time you go back to that mountain, Joel, and you conquer it and keep going. And I think you're still even conquering a mountain, man. You're still, you're going to be conquering it mentally. And then when you get it over there, I mean, it's even going to be more the better the next time.
Yeah, it hopefully. And Tasha, thanks for putting this together. And hopefully I can be around next week. Everything's kind of up in the air where I'm going to be. So, but hopefully we can get together and be on the call next week as well, because this was
Awesome.
good.
Awesome, Joel. Thanks. So, get in the Facebook, and then we'll give you a shout out if you're not on. We'll be here every week. So, somehow, some way, I'll be here every week. I try to make that
Okay.
commitment. Okay. Hey, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Signing off. I'm gonna go eat now. Ciao. Peace
Talk to
out.
you later.
Talk to you later. Bye bye. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and end this. I'm gonna stop it right now. So thanks for being on and listening to the replay. Okay, guys. Signing off. This is really good for you as well, dude, because now coming up with this plan, I mean specific targeted plan at how you're going to execute it from beginning to end. And of course this plan, dude, this plan you can keep adding to it. That's the beauty of it. Keep adding to it. But once you have it written out, like dude, this is going to be a masterpiece. And uh don't change your perspective and don't look at it anymore as like what I didn't do. Dude, make it happen for a reason. You went through that. This is preparing you for the bigger piece of the project. Okay? This project ain't done. Okay? And you're going to build on it. And it's going to be even so much better. And you're going to build on that content. So, really work on this in the next week of the bigger plan. If you're going to get back out on the road, that's great. Yes, the things that you didn't do, you can execute then. I really like that kind of attitude of you taking it that way as well, because you can just add that to the project.
Right. There is no end. Like there, I don't foresee an end goal, but I foresee pieces that are building up to be something bigger. And if you don't have the pieces that fit in that puzzle, well, you're just going to have to cut out some cardboard and fit some pieces in there and make it work. And it I went through and did all this work, and I mean, how in shape or out of shape I was, when I was in Jamaica. I'm not really that I wasn't set up for that kind of thing, but I just said, you know what, if I don't do this now, I'm not going to ever do it. And, it's going to only be harder to stop and drop everything unless you just do it. So, the last day that I was in Yosemite, it's kind of funny. You have a picture of Half Dome. I don't know if you have time for a quick little story. I can tell you a quick little story. And I'm seeing your screenshot of Half Dome right there, and it's kind of interesting that it ties right in.
Go for it.
So, anyways, my mom had just called me and told me about her chemo treatment, and I was basically on my way to Sequoia National Park. So I originally wanted to spend a week in Sequoia, a week in Yosemite, but I was already there, and her treatments weren't going to be for like 4 days, so I had some time. Well, I got to Sequoia, and I was just not thinking right. My head wasn't into it. I was kind of flailing around, not doing much, and I was like, okay, well, I got enough from Sequoia here that I got a couple of decent photos. I got enough. I'm going to go to Yosemite. So I go to Yosemite, and it's absolutely packed. There's construction everywhere. There's still 4 feet of snow on the tops, so you can't really do a lot of hiking. But my mom was like adamant, don't come back early just for this. And I'm like, well, So I'm up there, and I did like a 6 miles in the valley, little hike. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm not even thinking straight. I can't get my mind around this project that I'm doing. But my mom would be really mad because she knows that I always wanted to go to Yosemite. And so I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'll just go and do another hike. Well, there's a mountain on the other side of Half Dome that you can climb up and get even with Half Dome. So it's like another 5 miles. It's like another 5 miles up after the 6 miles that I already did, and it's pretty much straight up. and I was tired from hiking in Sequoia, but I started the hike, and I started the hike, and it was just a grueling hike. It was, jagged rocks and switchbacks, and I got halfway up. I'm like, you know what, this is a good spot to shoot it. And then I was about to stop and come down or just wait for sunset. And then I'm like, you know what, my mom will be mad because I was pretty much in the mindset that I was already going back. And I was like, you know what, I get there, my mom will be mad if she found out that I didn't come here and I just gave up a little short. So I was walking and passing people, and there was people coming down that couldn't make it all the way. A whole bunch of people, and they're like, "You're going all the way to the top?" Yeah, I'm gonna get there. And I was dog tired, and I was already tired on the way up, and I still got to come back down.
Yep.
So I get there, and I find these two kids that quit and came back, and they're in much better shape than I was. And I'm just like, you know what? I just gotta power through this. And I had been immersed in Teddy Roosevelt quotes on the whole national parks trip. And if you've been following any of my Instagram photos or anything on Facebook, I usually try and tie a Teddy Roosevelt quote or a John Muir quote into it. And he said, Teddy Roosevelt has this quote that says, "If you believe that you can, you're halfway there."
Yep.
And so I was just like, you know what? I got to do this.
That's a great quote.
And I bombed it. I bombed up the entire hill, and I was dog tired. And I got up there, and there was no clouds when I started the hike, and there was nothing. And then all of a sudden, just these perfect clouds showed up right behind Half Dome. And I got a great shot, which I haven't quite edited yet because I've been working on other stuff that I know I'm going to edit that, and I know I'm not going to have a problem doing that. So that one I'm kind of leaving. I'm trying to muddle through some of the other stuff that's not quite as exciting. And that's kind of my workflow, kind of get the stuff that you don't want to get done first. But I get up there, and it was Mother's Day, and I wasn't entirely certain that I was going back that day, but I went up there, and I shot a video telling my mom that I was coming back, and it was just a great spot to end it. But I knew that it was just the beginning, because once I got to the top there, I was like, man, I didn't think I could even do that. And then I came back, and I ended up walking back 6 hours in the dark because I waited for sunset up top. So I walked down the mountain in the dark, and after going up 11 miles, so it was 22 miles round trip that day, which is probably about 12 miles further than I had gone.
That's amazing.
But it was the perfect ending to this start of a big, long process. I didn't think I was going to get through it. There was so much that, but I had that drive because I didn't want to disappoint my mom. If she would have heard that I didn't do what I wanted to do in Yosemite, even though I was only there for one day, putting in 22 miles was way more than I've ever done and way more than I thought I could do in a day, especially in vertical ascent. It just was crazy to even fathom. Once I got back, I had blisters all over my feet, and I could hardly walk the next day, but I was like, man, I was really glad I did that. And so it was just kind of interesting that you had the screenshot of Half Dome, and that was my parting shot of
Wow.
my trip that ended on the place that was supposed to be kind of the pinnacle of my journey, and I would have a whole bunch of time to stay there and wait for the weather just to be perfect. And so it's kind of interesting that you had that screenshot up there, because now every time I see that photo or a photo of Half Dome, I'm going to remember that, and it's going to drive me to get out there and do it, and just do it, because there was no way that I would have believed that I could have done that. But I had the thought behind me that I didn't want to disappoint my mother, and I'm also not in the right mindset to be doing this. But with all of that going through my mind, I still just hit it, and it's kind of interesting that everything tied into that, and you have that as your screenshot.
Dude,
Screensaver.
Dude, that's awesome. I want to say something too. Well, I'll turn that off. Why is that? That's echoing. That's really awesome. There's probably a reason why that's there, because this one moment, I do believe in those types of things. Joel, imagine, here's something. Imagine taking the story you just said, this story motivating you, and this is your drive on a daily basis. That kind of drive you put into that moment is the kind of drive you need to create for yourself at every moment. I know that sounds crazy, but you know how it feels, and you've experienced it. That kind of drive in everything you do, practice that, man, because that is powerful. Your story right there is very powerful. If you can lead with that, you know how that feels, you've experienced it, you pushed yourself, okay? You went beyond the thoughts, and you pushed yourself up. I would walk around with a picture with that, because this is epic. The next time you go back to start this journey again, dude, it's right there, going back again, and you're actually going to do it. And it's only going to be even that much better and that much more of a story.
Yeah, it's it really kind of showed me my limitations that I put on myself, rather than
Yep, that's exactly.
my limitations of what I can actually do. You can actually always do more than what you're doing. It's just the limitations that you put on yourself that don't allow you to do that.
Yep, it's always, dude. It's always there. So, wow, this is a very powerful story, dude. So hopefully, maybe one day we'll be making your documentary of all of this, and it starts with you with the drone shot up on the mountain. So.
We'll have to get some serious FAA and national park restrictions changed, because there's no drones in national parks. But
well,
we can find a different mountain. It doesn't have to.
Yeah, well, I got away in a few places, just yeah. But cool. So Joel, I'm gonna go ahead and end the call. But I'm so glad that you shared that, dude, because that is a very powerful story. And so people that are listening to this recording here, I hope you get something out of that story, because now I can't wait to hear the next time you go back to that mountain, Joel, and you conquer it and keep going. And I think you're still even conquering a mountain, man. You're still, you're going to be conquering it mentally. And then when you get it over there, I mean, it's even going to be more the better the next time.
Yeah, it hopefully. And Tasha, thanks for putting this together. And hopefully I can be around next week. Everything's kind of up in the air where I'm going to be. So, but hopefully we can get together and be on the call next week as well.
Awesome.
Good.
Awesome, Joel. Thanks. So, get in the Facebook, and then we'll give you a shout out if you're not on. We'll be here every week. So, somehow, some way, I'll be here every week. I try to make that commitment. Okay? Hey, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Signing off. I'm going to go eat now. Ciao.